Oh my gosh, it's skate date. Welcome to the best roller skate and non-roller skate podcast out there.
Talk about being humble. The
Nope.
best.
I mean, I don't know if it's the best, but we try and be the best.
We try to be the best.
Yeah, maybe. Welcome to the place where we try and be the best. That's it.
There can only be one.
Okay, so what's up, everybody? Welcome to this week of Skate Date.
It's another Wednesday.
It is another bright and wonderful hump day. And so I'm Rebel.
And I'm Shove.
And together we are Shovel.
Can you dig it?
I can. It's like so, yeah. Anyways.
What were we going to say?
I don't know. I just think it's so funny that we're like, we can dig it. We almost called this podcast The Dig. Or like the Digs. The Digs with Shovel.
Mm-hmm.
But
Almost.
yeah. And so now it's just, that's how we dig it. Anyways.
I think the camera's slightly crooked, but we're just going to roll with it.
I feel like for some reason
Just
I'm
hold-
like way taller than
Just
you
hold your
today.
phone a little different.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Today we're going to talk about medication and street skating. So it's going to be an interesting episode. I'm really excited about what we have lined up.
Is it because
for
you need
today.
painkillers when you hurt yourself street skating?
No, but that's an excellent connection.
Oh.
But that's not the kind of medication
I don't want to
we're
listen
talking
to the
about.
rest of this podcast then.
Wow. Okay.
I'll come
well.
back next episode.
Don't leave. Stay, please. So if you're out there and you're listening to the podcast and you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, you should definitely do that because we have 826 subscribers. We're so freaking close to hitting 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, it's like Rebel's obsession. It's like
I'm like really obsessed with it right now. But anyways.
I'm just like, it'll happen when it happens.
I
But Rebel's
know.
being very proactive, so maybe it will.
I'm trying to be proactive. We're trying to do this. So how was your week, babes?
It was great. I skated 3 times in a row, which is really
Yeah.
great. I haven't really been skating because, depression. So that's been cool. My body is so dead right now, especially like my upper back, which is weird. And like my arms, I'm just so tired. And then like my good knee, my knee that doesn't get like the knee injuries, like was hurting really bad the other day, or yesterday. But, I'm hanging in there. It was worth it. Skate or die.
Yeah, hell yeah. Skate or die. I've had a good week. I've been really busy. I've been working. I finished up my last week of the intercession teaching, and tomorrow, or I guess 2 days ago for y'all, is my first day of the spring semester. So I've just been prepping for that and spending a lot of time trying to like organize my holiday, throw up all over the house. It's just stuff is just everywhere because I just didn't want to do anything for the break. So, I've just been trying to do that. And then it's been cool because my shop has been kind of popping off a little bit. And I have a Valentine's Day drop that's happening. Actually, oh my gosh, what day is Wednesday? Sunday is the 30th. There's 31st.
Well, I hope it's
So-
dropping before.
Yeah, it's dropping before. So the Valentine's Day drop just happened yesterday. If you haven't checked it out, you should go and check it out. There's a bunch of new stuff on cheerstothequeers.com right now. There's a bunch of Valentine's Day stuff and also like Valentine's Day adjacent, like hearts and like pinks and reds and all
I
sorts
was
of
at a
fun
photo
stuff.
shoot today for it. I was a model.
Yeah, we have a rainbow of heart sunglasses now with glitter in them and a bunch of new bags. One of the bags that I think is going to sell out instantly because they are so freaking cute. I'm like dying over them. But yeah, so if you haven't done that, you should check that out. And that's what I've been spending all my time doing.
I'm talking about checking it out. At checkout, use code SHOVE.
Yeah, you'll get 5% off.
I don't know. It's your business.
Yeah, I think, you get 5%
I always
off.
forget. I'm like, is it $5 or 5%? So I just say for a discount.
I don't remember. I need to look it up. But you get a discount if you use code SHOVE, and then SHOVE gets money if you use code SHOVE. So it's pretty dope.
Thanks.
Yeah. Someone actually used her code for the first time yesterday. So
It was dope. I was like, finally, geez.
yeah. But yeah, so there's like lots of cool stuff and I'm really proud of it. So that's what I've really been investing my time and effort into.
Yeah. And since we don't really do ads, but I just want to, whoa, my voice. And I just want to throw out there, if you want to save money on anything, so if you shop any of the Project Pinup stuff that you see on her website, we do have a code that's going to be Skate Date.
Skate Date.
If you shop anything from cheers to the queers.com, code SHOVE will save you money. If you shop at moxieskates.com, code REBEL or code SHOVE will save you $5 off of 15 or more. Do you have any other codes?
If you shop at Black Coletta, which is a crystal shop, and use code REBEL, you can get a percentage off.
And if you shop fatfemfatale.com, that's my store.
Code REBEL.
Code REBEL.
We're just throwing discounts back and forth,
Yeah.
which is actually pretty cool for y'all because all it is just giving you like free money, basically.
So just a reminder, like if you go shopping, just ways to save money, you know?
Oh, yeah. And if you ever need a vibrator, I have a code for Honey Adult Play. The link is in my Instagram bio. But you can get like a solid discount. I think it's like 20%. It's like a crazy discount.
That's crazy. It's still going.
Yeah, it's like still existing. And every once in a while people use it. And I'm like, dope. Yeah.
Wow, people are thinking about you when they get off.
I love it. So fun.
Nice.
What a party. Nice.
I will murder them all. All right, so let's jump on in.
Oh, before we do that,
man.
though, if you ever did want to have an ad, like if you wanted us to promote your business or your anything, just hit us up at skatedatepodcast@gmail.com and we will send you our rates for ads, and we can promote your business and it'll be super cool.
Woo, capitalism.
Yeah. We're basically just trying to pay for this podcast so that it can stay running.
If I actually get paid for this, I might be like, hell yeah, let's do that podcast right now. Make that money for my time. Right now I'm just doing it like it's like a soul project. What do they call it? Like a
heart project?
It's not called a heart project.
I don't know, but that'd
y'all
be
know
cute,
what
though.
I'm talking about. But like the whole it's a labor of love. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, heart pretty much.
But yeah, so basically the thing is that we pay for a platform to hold all our episodes on, and then we also pay for a music subscription every month.
So we're in the
hole. We're in the hole every month for this podcast. So we're just trying to like even it out, and that's why we also want more subscribers on YouTube because then we can monetize our YouTube.
Exactly.
Is the thing.
All right, so now it's time to comment about a comment from last week.
Yeah, we're gonna pick our favorite comments and add them in there.
Well, there was only 2 comments on the YouTube channel, so it was really easy because one wasn't a question. But I was asked where my shirt was from. It was actually a dress, a very hoochie bodycon tight dress. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see me wearing it with blue tights. I got that from Forever 21.
It's so cute.
3 years ago. Maybe 4 years ago.
It's literally so cute when she wears it with a beret. I'm like, oh my God, it's so cute.
I've worn the dress twice.
And
the first time Rebel wasn't around, but I did have a beret and I sent her a picture.
Yes.
She was out of state.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things that like I wore when I first got, and then I never wore again. And then 3 years later, I was like, I'm going to finally wear this.
I love that. So the comment that I got is actually in the form of a DM on our Skate Date Instagram. And it was in response, not necessarily to last episode, because I think people don't know we started again yet, which is why there aren't as many comments and stuff. But it was bringing up the fact that there is a musical that is specifically on roller skates. I know we had talked about like musicals and like roller skates and stuff, but it's called Starlight Express. And apparently it's active in Germany or something, but apparently it's been going on for like a very long time. And it is like this wild, what it appears to be, is this like wild, like fantasy land robot-esque. It's not robots for sure, but they're like very like fantasy, but not like mythical creatures. More like, I would say like the Capitol in Hunger Games, like that's what their outfits seem to be.
Is it
and they're
steampunk?
Almost. It's like almost steampunk. Yeah, maybe. But I also only had a clip in like a different language, and I was like trying to watch it. But they have these stages, and like there are audience members in between the stages, and then they skate from stage to stage, and they like dance and like do all this stuff. And I guess the whole show is just everyone is on roller skates.
That's dope.
Which is wild. So anyways, so someone messaged us about that, and I was like, that's so cool. So that's my response. I think that's cool. I'm now going to try and find it in English. If anyone has it in English, please let me know so I can find it and watch it and make Shove watch it, even though she probably will hate it.
Awesome.
But that being said, let's jump right in.
Finally.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's the real world.
Yes, it is. Oh, yeah. Right before, right as we were changing, you know that nasty thing that happens when you like get that bile filling in your throat, and I thought I was going to throw up. And I was like, oh no, all I have is like a hot tea latte.
I have water right here.
So I did, but I feel like my throat's burning. Don't you hate when that happens?
I hate when that happens. It's the worst. And it's like, just reminds you that you're getting old. You know what I mean? Like when random shit happens to me like that, I'm like, I'm not sick. I'm just not young anymore.
No, that happens even when you're young. It's just like,
it just happens more often when you're older and you're eating like foods that you used to eat while you're young.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Like anytime I eat extra bad foods, I'm like, I have more repercussions now.
Don't grow up, people.
It's
all
a
right.
trap.
So we're going to talk about medication.
So when you say medication, what do you mean?
Crazy pills.
So we're talking about mental health medication. We're not talking about like, we're not going to be your pharmacist right now. And we're not saying, just like a disclaimer, that the medication that we've been prescribed that we take is the correct medication for you. This is medication that we have been prescribed by a person who has a degree in it and who has tailored their recommendation. Oh, a license, yeah. And has tailored their recommendation to our individual needs. So do not
this
assume
is just our personal
this is just our
experience.
personal
It's story
experience.
time.
Yep, story time.
It's
Okay.
like, maybe they're not as crazy as they used to be. Yeah, right. I can't even say
right.
Maybe
literally
things are a little different.
You know what's funny? I actually just saw something on Instagram right before coming in here that was like, oh, like there could only be one crazy one in the relationship, and I'm that person. And I was like, no, dude, like we were even talking, what was it? Was it last week or a few days ago when we were talking, like, I don't think that I could be in a relationship with someone who is 100% sane.
Oh, hell no.
Like, I don't know that a sane person, like I was like, you wouldn't understand me, and I would feel not inferior, but I would just feel weird. Like you would never be able to understand.
I'd be like, oh man, like I am just another part of luggage you have to carry. But instead of being like, hey, we both struggle with this, it's like now I struggle with it and you have to help be there, like, and not understand and struggle with it instead of having your own demons to struggle with. Like,
And I do think that there's something really beautiful about being like there are times when both of us are in the pit and that's rough, but more often than not, it's like we switch off, like that we have our kind of crazy moments and we're able to understand what's happening, you know, even if it's not like a full understanding. It's like, oh, I understand that there's like a mental health issue going on there, and I can kind of just like ask like what you need and then just like move from that, as opposed to being like, what's going on? Even though in the beginning, I think we were both trying to figure each other out a bit, and we definitely had those moments, but way less now.
True.
Yeah. Anyways, so medication.
You want to go first?
Sure. So I feel like I've talked about this a little bit already when I started it and when I felt like it was going well, but before. So I had a big like preconceived notion about medication. I was really, really nervous about getting on medication for my ADHD. I was actually nervous about being officially diagnosed, and then that really wasn't that big of a deal. It actually was like relieving to me. But then I like was given medication. Actually, oh my gosh, before I was given medication for my ADHD, I was actually given medicine for my depression. And I never took it. Like, I was like, I don't actually feel comfortable taking that medication because I felt like I was on my way out of the like because I was in a very, very dark place. I don't know how many of you could tell in January of last year, but I was not doing so hot. And so I was in like a very, very dark place. And that's when I started therapy. And I think that my prescriber was kind of like, whoa, like she's in a really dark place. Like we should give her something. And I got it and I asked my mom about it because my mom is all sorts of crazy and has many, many, many medications. And so are actually all of, is it just the few? No, it's all the people in my family except for my dad, pretty much. But yeah, everyone has mental health problems. So my mom's taken a lot of meds. So I asked her like, hey, have you ever taken this med? And it was, Wellbutrin, which is like a little good for ADHD and also good for depression. And I just didn't feel comfortable with it. And she said that it reacted with her really poorly too. And that was already after me feeling uncomfortable about it. So then I just decided not to take it and just see how therapy could get me by. And therapy really helped with my depression. So I was like, I already just had this kind of trepidation towards medication, you know?
Wow, you're a rapper now.
Well, I just feel like when you grow up, and I don't know, like did your parents have a lot of medications when you were young?
No, they raw dogged reality.
Yeah, so my mom, I don't know if my dad really had many medications, but my mom always had like a lot of medications. Like she has a few illnesses and then also mental health issues on top of that. And so for me, I was always scared of like that medication would make me end up be like my mom. And I really didn't want that. And so I just was, I don't know, fearful of it. So then they finally like prescribed me Adderall for my ADHD. And they were like, seriously, this is going to help you so much. Like you should just try it. And so I tried it and they put me on 20 milligrams of extended release Adderall. And from the very first day that I tried it, I was like, holy crap. Like, I feel now that I know what it feels like to be on medication and be on medication for a while, it's like when I'm not on Adderall, it's like there is like my thoughts are all running like marathons around each other all the time. Like there's always so many thoughts and and it's always going 1,000,000 miles per second. Like I would have a really hard time, even if I was talking to someone, like I would be talking to Shove, who I obviously am very interested in. Obviously, I love her very much. And like, even if she was talking to me about something I really cared about, like I would find myself like off in another world all of a sudden because I would start thinking about like my to-do list, or I would start thinking about like, and it wasn't important things I was thinking about. It wasn't like serious matters that needed to be addressed. It was that my brain just like could not focus on whatever was going on. And I would get really bored easily. And just, I had a lot of symptoms. I have very severe ADHD. So, yeah. So ever since I've been on that, it's been a lot better. And I feel like clarity. And now it doesn't feel like the first week or so, I was like, euphoric about it because I just felt like I could be in the moment in ways that I could never be in the moment before. And it felt like for the first time in my life, I was in the moment. Like I had never felt like what it actually felt like to be in the moment. Like whenever people use that phrase, I was like, what kind of insane shit are you talking about? But I like finally got it and it blew my mind. Yeah, but now it doesn't feel like that all the time. Obviously, like your body gets used to it, but it is very clear. I think I talked about this last week. Like it's very clear when I have a day when I am definitely taken my medicine, and it's very clear when I have not taken my medicine. Like even today, Chef was like, "What, have you not taken your medicine yet?" And I was like, "Oh no, I guess not." She's like, "Huh, okay, well here it is," because I think that I'm like a lot less miserable to be around when I've had my medication. And not saying that I'm a miserable person or that ADHD makes someone miserable. It's just that in the same way that I think medication helps Shove to be like so much like, I don't know, I really like being around her even more than I did before. I think I'm the same way. Not that I was bad before, but just that, like, the things that can be, I don't know,
My
like,
patience isn't tested anymore. Like sometimes it's just like, or like being upset, like, why don't you remember this? We just talked about it. Like little things where it didn't feel like she cared enough, where it was just wasn't listening because she was distracted and not concentrating, in our memory is really bad. And like all these little things that just like narrowed down to like, oh, you have ADHD that we didn't know about.
yeah. And I remember always feeling so bad because, like, you would tell me things and then you'd be like, you don't remember that, like, super important thing that I told you? And I would literally be like, I literally don't remember it. And that still happens a lot. Like, definitely Adderall doesn't solve for my memory issues, but I feel like it maybe happens a little less. And yeah, so that's cool. And it's cool to, like, have knowledge of, like, why I was like certain things.
Yeah, or like the emotional part of it too. I think like now it's easier to like talk out emotions and you feeling things so strongly the first time. I think it definitely helps you in things like that. And then were you nervous when they said Adderall, just knowing that like Adderall has such a bad rep for just being abused?
I don't know. So actually, something about the story that I left out is they tried to offer me a different medication first. And the different medication that they tried to offer me, I looked up like as we were talking about it. And like the first reaction or the first like side effect is like sluggishness.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I will not continue to take a medication that makes me feel sluggish. Like it goes against my lifestyle. It goes against who I am as a person. And I think that was my biggest fear more than, oh, like Adderall or something, whatever. My biggest fear was not continuing to be myself. And I do believe that my kind of, hyper focus on things is actually like a cool part of who I am. Even though it's also like an annoying part of ADHD. Like, like they're just my ability to accomplish so much, like that stuff. I was very worried about that dissipating, like, and not being me. And so I said, I don't want to take something that's going to make me sluggish. And then it was like sluggish and weight gain. And I was like, no, I can't do that. Like, that's going to spiral me. Like, that's not going to put me in a good place. Like, sluggish is like the number one red flag. So then they were like, okay, well, we'll put you on Adderall. And honestly, when I heard Adderall, I just thought, I guess we'll find out if I really have ADHD or not. Like, that was literally my thought. It wasn't necessarily like, oh, it has this bad rap. I was like, am I going to get addicted to this? Because I don't want to be addicted to it. And I also was like, I really don't want to be more hyped than I am already. Like, if I somehow end up being more hyped than I am, this will not work.
This me and you wouldn't work.
No, yeah, it would not, like, life wouldn't work. Like, it would be really bad. And so my, prescriber was like, oh yeah, like if you do get like super hyped, that means, that you do not have ADHD. And I was like, oh, okay. So I took the medication, not really worrying about that kind of stuff. So it was more like, I've told people about it and had people react kind of weirdly, but I don't really care what people think. I just care about how I feel. So
how long has it been since you've been on Adderall?
It's been 6 months.
Do you feel like there's been, because I know they started you at 20 milligrams, which like, I'll mention this later for myself too, but like is not like, especially for someone that hasn't taken any medication for what they've been diagnosed with yet. Like, I know they'll do like 5 or like 10, but they went straight for 20 because they did tell you had like an extreme case. So starting at 20 and then 6 months later still being on 20, do you feel like it still affects the same? Do you feel like it's weaker? Has it kind of just been the same all around?
Yeah, it's been pretty much the same. I do notice that there are things that aren't as effective. Like, I do still notice that I kind of get like scatterbrained still. But I feel like I'm not ready to bridge that. Like, can we up my medicine yet? Because I'm still, I don't know. It makes me nervous to up the medication at all. I feel like it is serving me for sure. Whether or not it's serving me less, I think I still need some more time to figure that
I
out.
think like medication's not a magical pill. Like it's not like boom, now you're cured. Your mental illness is gone as long as you take this magical pill. It's just making it manageable.
Yeah, and that's what I didn't realize. I thought like, oh, I'm gonna take Adderall, and then like, oh, everything's gonna go away. And
No.
honestly, that's how it thought it. That's how it thought. That's how it felt for the first week. Like the first week, I was like, I have never experienced the world like this. Is this how people feel? Is this like, what is this?
Wait, I have an important question.
Yeah.
Just because we were just watching something about this. Do you think there's any chance that it was like the medication mixed with placebo effect? Like, because I'm taking something. I already think this pill is going to cure everything. And then it's like working and it is doing like half, like 70% maybe of what you're like, your high, like what you're really putting it up for. So maybe that's why. And then like after a week you got used to it and it was like, oh, I'm still doing better, but it's not like that high. Or do you think it was just because it was the first time taking it?
I think it was because it was the first time taking it. And this is going to sound really like weird and straight edge of me, even though I'm not at all straight edge. But like, I've never really taken medication for anything before except for asthma. And I don't really do drugs that often, and I don't really drink that often. And so for me, like that first week, and this is going to go against everything that people say that you should feel when you first start a medication, but like I felt high almost. Like and not high, like I felt like I was like that there was a sheet covering my body, and for the first time that sheet had been taken off. Like I remember, I know this is going to, oh my gosh, shut up. No. So like, this sounds, I don't know why I feel like almost emotional right now.
I was like, are you going to cry?
I
Your
feel
eyes
almost
are
emotional.
watering.
Yeah. Like, but like.
Is it because I sing Amazing Grace?
No, it's because I was thinking about the most impactful moment. Oh my, I'm totally going to cry right now. Okay. So the most impactful moment for me was that first week. I don't remember if it was the first day or the second day. I put my skates on.
It was the first day because you called me.
I put my skates on and I skated outside, and it was like I had never experienced skating like that before. It was like I was like in touch with my body and in touch with the ground, and like in the moment actually just skating for the first time ever. And it felt so amazing. Like if I could imagine what, people say that like the most biggest amount of bliss that you can feel, like that's what it felt like. And I was just blown away. I was so blown away. And I didn't even know feeling like that was possible, And so I don't know that it didn't feel, I don't think that I could trick myself into feeling like that, because I wouldn't even have known how to like what to expect. Like I didn't know what to expect. They didn't tell me what was going to happen. They just told me like, take this, it'll help. So I don't think I could have tricked myself. I think maybe like it was enhanced probably by my I think because I honestly didn't think it was going to work. That's why I don't think it was a placebo thing. But I think once it did start working and I did experience that first day, I was like, I had a very positive attitude towards it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's pretty much my journey with Adderall. What about your journey with medication?
All right. So about a year and a month ago, I started Lamictal. That is a mood stabilizer.
Sounds like the name of a dinosaur.
Yeah, it has a longer name. Can't think about it right now, but it's by Lamictal and it's way easier to say. So let's just call it Lamictal. As soon as I talked about being on it, I did have, because I'm very vocal on social media about my medication and mental illness and everything. And it's one, because I want to break the stigma, and two, because I know I have so many followers that there's going to be a good amount of people that have had or gone through or, do have whatever things I've experienced. So they give me good advice. whether it's negative or positive. And I really love that because it helps me make an informed decision besides just Googling and looking at Reddit and hoping I find an answer. So with Lamactol, a lot of people were like, oh, like, blah, blah, blah. My partner really liked this one, but there was a side effect. Or other people are like, oh, I wish I could go back on this one, or I really liked that one. So I was like, all right, cool. And it started with 25 milligrams. And I was like, the side effects were like a little weird. Like my words were getting jumbled up, or like I already get anxious and forget a lot of things and stumble over my words. But it was like way worse. And that lasted like a week or so. The side effects weren't like too bad with that one. It was just like little slight things here and there. And then like every couple of weeks or so, I think every 3 weeks they upped it again. So then it was like, oh, take 2 of them to be 50 milligrams. And then it finally got me the 50 milligram pill. So I wasn't taking so many pills. And then it went up to 100. And each time I increased, like the first time I was like, ooh, my brain feels like a little change. It was definitely more like a week or two for it to kick in. Not like Adderall where it was like instantaneous. Your body did have to like get used to it, but it didn't take that long. Like a week or two, I was like, okay, there's something. What's interesting though, it wasn't really like curing my depression. It was more like, instead of feeling 6 feet under, I feel like maybe I'm only 1 foot under with a straw that I can still breathe, but there's still a weight on my chest, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
So then I would still experience like my ups too, but they weren't as uppy. The anger wasn't as strong. There was like little things. It wasn't like as often. Like there definitely were like little changes here and there, but I think not enough that I could notice because in my head, I think I was expecting, I think I didn't understand the difference between a mood stabilizer and antidepressant. So I was really thinking like, this is going to help get me out of that hole. But therapy definitely helped more than the medication. The mood stabilizer just made it less of a topsy-turvy roller coaster, I guess I'd say.
I mean, I could definitely notice the change when you started the medication. So I think it was doing something. I just think it wasn't doing, it was like one step, you know, like it wasn't the whole shebang.
Yeah. And like my mania didn't last as long or get as crazy as like I know it gets inside. Because like I think like with mania, it's really easy for me to kind of like hide, or it just comes off as like, oh, she's not depressed. Like it almost feels like it's weird. Like I saw a meme, it was like, is this mania? Like, is this me doing better and being healthy, or is it just mania? Like, it's like, because it starts off as just like, you think you're good, but it's like, also like, I do feel this kind of rush inside me, and I do feel like I am invincible right now, and I might make bad choices, and it's the typical like shops way too much, or it's just like, I don't know, like a lot of hyper things in my mind that like I don't want to like, I don't talk about really, but it's just like in there. And then it's all that stuff's like easier for me to like, I guess, not talk about. Depression's easier to talk about.
And I do think also like I didn't used to be able to notice when you were manic because I just thought like, ooh, fun shove. And now I can definitely put my finger on it pretty quickly. Like pretty quickly I'm like, oh, that's mania. But yeah, before I was just like, party time. But I think it's cool to be able to notice too. And I think it's definitely something that it takes you a long time of knowing someone to be able to recognize.
Once I was diagnosed, I was like, starting to kind of do the math and being like, oh, that's what that was. Like, that's like, I thought I just didn't have guilt for things, or I just thought like that was a little weird, but like it's looking back, I can see the ups and downs, or like how that happiness was not healthy happiness. So it definitely helped with that. But as time went on, I noticed like, especially maybe, I don't know, at the end of summer or so, like the depression was like lasting a way too long. Up to this month, like it was just going darker and darker for me, and I feel like usually it doesn't last that long. So I was like, okay, what the hell? Like, is my medication not working anymore? Maybe I need to be upped on it. I finally decided to like talk to someone about it. So I talked to my healthcare provider, and I was just like, yo, Honestly, I didn't even tell my therapist because I wanted to start trauma therapy and she already said I wasn't ready, but I had told her I was ready. And I really wanted to get in there, so I didn't tell her, but I told my provider, which I know is shady, but whatever. I was just like, if I get the drugs, like maybe that'll help because like this therapy, I've been in a year and we haven't started yet. And like, I really think I'm ready, but at the same time, maybe I'm not ready. And of course, like she picked up on it because we started like a month after. But I was talking to her, to my provider, and I was just like fully broke down. And I was just like, yeah, like the thoughts of suicide are coming back. I'm not in a good place. Like my medication, like I know it's helping some, but it's not helping with this feeling of despair. And so she talked to me about antidepressants. At first, she wanted to put me on Zoloft. And I was just like, okay, I've seen the commercials because apparently just in America.
The little bouncing
yeah, the
guy.
little bouncing bubble and all sad, you know, and you want to smile. So I was like, okay, like seeing a commercial about that. And she's telling me, I'm like, what's the side effects? And she's the same thing, like weight gain, like all this stuff. And I'm like, well, I'm already like trying to like remain active. Like I now have a job where I sit at a desk. Like I don't want to add to that because to the weight, and that has nothing to do with not being body positive or not being body positive. It's just I don't want to add something that's like gonna put weight to me if I don't need to.
Yeah.
So she was like, well, we also have Prozac. Prozac can be weight loss, but it can maybe weight too, weight gain. But people, because I told her like, well, like I struggle with binge eating, so I don't want like whatever you think is like gonna go hand in hand. And I guess they actually prescribe Prozac to people that are have anorexia.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
And bulimic. I don't know, like something about it. They give it to people with anorexia, bulimia, and with depression and with acute anxiety.
They actually give Adderall to people, extended release, the one that I'm on, to people who are really struggling to lose weight and they can't.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Interesting.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But so I was just like, I got really scared because the side effects were really long when I looked at the packaging and even online, and I was like, I don't know. But she went ahead and diagnosed me with 20, which I later, while I was like researching, was like, oh, like usually people start off with 10, but okay, whatever. I used to always wonder why people would always be like, oh, medication, like it's the hardest part and blah, blah, because the mood stabilizer I was taking was like, oh, a weekend and there you go, you're good, you should be feeling it, and then we'll just up it more and more, versus like with the Prozac, like literally like 5 to 6 weeks to even like feel something.
Wild.
That's so long.
And to have like side effects too, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
So Prozac is what it's called, a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. It's an SSRI, which that's way easier for me to remember. So SSRIs are pills that are going to help release serotonin in my brain. Serotonin, if you don't know, is the happiness that our brain creates. So people that are depressed usually don't have that serotonin boost that they need. I had someone in my class in beauty school. Don't think I'm bougie and I'm in college. In beauty school, my coworker, or my what do you call it?
Classmate.
Thank you. My classmate was like, oh, I don't get it. Like, isn't therapy like your medication? Like, I thought like if something was wrong, if you were depressed, like you just go therapy. Like, why do you need medication? And I was like, so some people are depressed and they can talk to someone and feel better. Some people have something mental, like physically wrong in their brain, and they need that medicine to help it. Just like if someone has a headache, they're going to take Tylenol. Not going to just talk to someone and then their headache goes away.
Yeah, my mom used to always call it, to explain it to me, she would say, I'm clinically depressed, which means I need medication to help me with my depression.
Yeah, I think he felt bad because he's always like, I'm just so depressed. I'm so depressed. And then there's me and one other girl that like actually go to therapy, and we'll just look at each other like, you don't even know. You don't know. You're sad. You're sad. You're not depressed. But if you're really depressed, please go get therapy. Yeah. But people just always say, like, they're like, I'm just so bipolar. It's my ADHD or it's my OCD. And you're like, no.
You're like, can you not though? Thanks.
But yeah, so it has been a little over 5 weeks now. I took my first pill on New Year's Eve because, it seemed right. No, it actually just came that day. So it was perfect. Perfect way to start a new year. I would say that it's almost crazy because it's been roughly 5 weeks and I think I'm starting to feel a difference. The next week I should really know, which is great, but the side effects were really tough.
Yeah, what were your side effects?
The main one was nausea. I got really nauseous to the point of where one day when we were moving the warehouse, because we had just moved Moxie HQ while I'm also on new meds and it's very physical. And I went in and I didn't really eat that morning, straight into heavy lifting. Had taken my medication already and I literally had to run to the bathroom and throw up and then just lay outside on the floor, in the parking lot for a while. The nausea still happens. I haven't thrown up again since then, but now I really need to make sure I'm drinking water and eating when I take it, because otherwise it'll be 30 minutes or 2 hours of feeling nauseous, kind of seasick.
Ugh.
And then the rest of the day I'll be fine. So I'm okay, I can deal with that. Dry mouth, which is just annoying because I can't, whether I'm drinking water nonstop all day, I'm just my mouth feels dry. Right now, dry.
That was the one symptom that I had with my Adderall was my mouth got dry, but then it went away.
My anxiety, I've had I had a little bit of anxiety the other day when we were doing that shoot. That was just, I think, I was overwhelmed. I knew we were running late and I knew I didn't feel safe when we were skating. So it was just little normal things. But now I bounce my leg a lot when I'm don't even notice I'm at work and I'm just da-da-da-da with my leg.
Yeah, I was babe, what are you doing?
Yeah, now that's just the thing I do daily pretty much. So I'll wait a few more weeks, maybe a whole month, if the side effects are too much and I'm I don't think this is for me. I will let them know whether they need to lower it or I need to try something else. But it's just if this one's not the one and I do need to take something else, then I'll really, really understand why people on antidepressants are always saying oh, it just sucks so hard to find the right pill because that means I'll take something else and have to wait another month or two to know if it works.
Yeah, that's really frustrating and annoying and bad.
But yeah, definitely. I know this happened to you too, but posting online about it, I did get a handful of people. More people were supportive, but they were don't do it. Medication's so bad. It will ruin you and all this stuff.
Yeah, I really hate that. Because I think that that's another one of those things, not to compare it to gear policing, but you don't know what's going on in my body. Just because you had a certain reaction to medication and you have a certain maybe political opinion about medication doesn't mean that that's what's going to be the same for mine. And I really think if you really do have a negative experience with a medication, the way to go about it isn't just hey, stop, don't do it. It's hey, I've had a certain experience. Would you like me to share that with you? That's the way the conversation should start, not let me dump all of my experience with this right on you, because just because you posted it on the internet doesn't mean you're asking to hear all about someone else's experience and their advice for you. Because in all honesty, do you have a certification or a license to prescribe me medication? Do you know all about my mind and all the things that are going on with me? Probably not, since you're just a follower on Instagram.
I appreciated when people shared their story, whether it was good or bad. I just didn't appreciate the people that were just told me not to. It was just give me the information and I'm going to make my choice, but don't judge me because I choose medication. My mom didn't choose medication and she was diagnosed bipolar and it made things so much worse, I believe. Just to know that I could have had a more sane mother, possibly, with better memories. It sucks just because my mom thought that she would be a zombie if she took medication. And I am definitely not a zombie. I am not.
Not even kind of. I would say you're more yourself now than you are off of them.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, make informed decisions. Don't just jump on it. Really think about it. But that's all I could say really. And don't hesitate if you feel like, hey, I am looking to get on medication. Can I have a little bit more information after listening to this? Go ahead and slide in my DMs. Rebel, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I have no problem talking to you about like my personal,
Same.
like delving in even more because, of course, we've already been talking for a long time about this.
Oops, sorry.
But like if you have more questions or you want me to expand on this, I have no problem. Just go ahead and message me.
Yeah, and to be clear, I also don't have a problem with people expressing their experience with medication, but my problem is explicitly when you say, oh, don't do it because of blah, 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 or you should ask for this because of blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I don't think you know what's good for my body. You might know what's good for your body. You might have an experience, and I'd like to hear that experience, but I don't want to hear your opinion about it, about what's going on in my body. And I think that comes from some history of trauma in my life. So, but like, I know, like, I'm super grateful. I reached out to someone who I don't know extremely well, but they had been open on the internet about ADHD and like starting Adderall and stuff. And I reached out to them because I was having like a really like hard moment before I took it. And they really, really helped me navigate through the process. And I was really, really appreciative of that. So if there's anyone who feels like, oh my God, I have ADHD, or I think I have ADHD and I don't know what to do or whatever, like, my inbox is definitely always open.
Awesome.
As well.
All right.
Anyways, time to jump into the wheel world.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the wheel world, where we're going to talk about
street skating.
Street skating. What's street skating?
When you skate in the street.
Okay, so what kind of street skating are we talking about? Or are there different types of street skating? Or is all street skating the same?
So there's casual street skating. That's what I do. That is just, and what Rebel does, that's just like skating in your neighborhood. I like to joke that I'm like baby aggressive street skater, only because like I don't do tricks, but I am a daredevil when it comes to cars. Like I'm just like, wee, like I don't care. Like the same way as like you see, like imagine in New York when you see like bike messengers and they're just like diving, weaving in between traffic, whatever. I get a rush from that, and like I don't really care. I'm really good at like seeing like the velocity of a car and knowing I have enough time. But of course, that is not aggressive skating. That is just like I'm being a concrete surfer and an asphalt surfer.
Yeah, I definitely, when I skate in the streets, I definitely see myself as just like a person who skates on all surfaces and enjoys skating on the actual street. But I would love to be someday in my dreams an aggressive street skater.
You better hurry up because you're
getting old
yep,
fast.
and,
I know.
Don't go to skate park enough because we're talking about aggressive street skating.
Yeah, that's
right
what
now.
we're talking about, aggressive street skating.
We're talking about like what you saw in Street Fighters.
Yeah, if you didn't watch Roller Ghoulie, aka Carly Craig's Street Fighters, you should watch that. We'll link it down below. But basically, Street Fighters was a compilation of a bunch of street skaters.
Yes, and street skating can be like, you'll see some people just turning like the world into their skate park, whether it's just like on a ledge somewhere, or there might be like a little safe, like a handicapped rail, and then they can slide on it or they can like jump up on it. They'll like see things that you'll see at the skate park on the street side, and they'll be like, I'm gonna do that. And then there's like super scary aggressive, where it's like really sketch situations, like where you're gonna end and go onto a busy street, like
Yeah, I think a lot of aggressive skating is sketchy situations.
illegal.
I'm going to go out
Dangerous.
here. Yeah, I'm going to say before we like super get into this is that street skating is definitely illegal and definitely super dangerous. And we are not necessarily advocating that you go and try aggressive street skating. That is a decision that you have to make on your own with complete knowledge that it is dangerous and you can get really hurt and that you could get in trouble. But That out of the way.
Oh my gosh, you just being like the lawyer this episode.
No, I'm just like, we're just suggesting a lot of things today that we don't normally suggest.
Oh, we're not suggesting. We're just talking about it.
We're talking about it, yeah. But so when you see people like jumping gaps, like say you see like big concrete slabs and then people are jumping from slab to slab, or if you see someone on an in and out sign and they're like riding that, or if you see someone like grinding on different ledges and random stuff that wasn't created to be like skated on.
Or they're like, look at that 10 stair. I'm going to jump it. Look at that 15 stair. I'm going to fucking ride that rail. And you're like.
Or they like get on top of a roof and then they jump off.
Yeah, like.
Or they jump over stuff.
A lot of this you'll see in skateboarding. And if you look at like any skateboarding movie that you can find on YouTube that's like street skating, like you're gonna see what we're talking about, and it's like insane. And then a lot of inliners do it. But when it comes to roller skaters, we're now finding out, we just found out,
this is new for us.
It's like it's non-existent.
Yeah.
Considering how many roller skaters there are, it's so minuscule, the amount of skaters that are street skaters.
Like aggressive street skaters.
Like we're talking like the ghoulies of the world and the estrogens and the spicy ivies.
Yeah, like there's so few of them. And so we're on a hunt to find more aggressive street skaters.
Yeah, because there's got to be more. And
there's got to be more, but just no one talks about it. And it's not showing up anywhere on the internet that I've been searching.
Yeah, and then like the people that I put out like a call of action, like, let me know. And it was like all people I knew. And even when I look at those people, it's like they are street skating. They're street skaters. But are they doing like this crazy uber dangerous, like scary
like
shit?
Stuff that Nick the Medic does?
Yeah.
So insane.
So and then I'm like, no, those people are far and in between. Like I'll see it on Instagram here and there, and I can see people starting to want to head that way because
like
they're getting
towards
because they're getting like bored at the skate park. Because I feel like all these people you see on the street side at the skate park like just need someone to be like, yo, come out into the world with me, but heads up, you could get a ticket or get hit by a car. Like, so that's like terrifying.
Yeah. Like, are you open to this? And if you are, let's do it. But like your risk, you're choosing this.
Yeah. And I think that's why some people are afraid because like, unless they just like see someone doing it and they're like, yo, I want to do this. Cool. But people don't really want to be responsible to like go cherry pick skaters and be like, come with me. You'll probably really get hurt, but yeah, I'll teach you, and then like feel like shit when something goes wrong. So like I understand it, but it like there's got to be more people out there. Like I don't know, the skate community is so huge.
So big. Yeah, I definitely am on the level of like skating in places I'm not supposed to skate in. Like I skate in so many places that I've gotten kicked out of so many places on my skates. My default setting is I'm just gonna skate here until I get kicked out, and then I'm gonna be like, "Why are you kicking me out? I didn't see a sign." Even if there was a sign. So like I'm on that level when it comes to like street skating, but it's not kind of anything. But yeah, so why are we like talking about this? Why do we care about street skating? Are we just trying to let the people know like what street skating is and then find more aggressive street skaters? Or do we want to become aggressive street skaters? Like what's our thoughts?
I just want to talk about it. Well, I guess you too, because it was in conversation with some skaters. Like we have some street skaters that are in town right now. And like, it's like crazy because you see these street skaters that do exist. And then you're like, well, for me right away. And one of my friends, she's a woman of color. We're like, oh my God, are there only white street skaters? Like, this can't be. And then we started really thinking about it. And then we even talked to them about it. And they were saying how they always have conversations about how, like, where are all the people of color? Like, some of the ones, like, at least female, non-binary. Because there's a couple guys that do street skate. Like, if you remember from Street Fighters, there's guys in there. But guess what? All those guys were inliners.
Yeah.
They didn't start as roller skaters, and it's really easy because they already got it on inlines. Then they switch to quads, and then they just ace it. And I know if you're listening to this, how many times did you see even a skateboarder, but specifically an inliner, put on roller skates and just shred? And then you're like, what the heck?
Immediately, and you're like, why?
Yeah, they're like already doing grinds and dropping in and like all kinds of stuff and like without hesitation. And you're like, I've been doing this for a year and I can't even do that.
Yeah, it's wild.
So to find like
fine.
someone that started in quadding, like only skates quads and is an aggressive street skater is really rare, like in female or non-binary. So I think, and then like you like period, like as a white person, and then to delve even more into a subcategory and be like, can we have someone that's a POC female or non-binary person that aggressive street parks? And like after having that conversation, it was just like they have to exist. Like I was like, this is bullshit. There's gotta be people of color that are like super hardcore, like throwing themselves like in danger, like the most dangerous shit you can think. Like there's gotta be these people that exist that are like, I don't know, I couldn't find them. I just couldn't find them.
I feel like they are just not proliferated on the internet. Right? I feel like they are there and they're just like being gnarly and like killing it, and we're just not seeing their content, or they're not creating content. I definitely feel like I'm sure like a bunch of like super gnarly skaters in like Latin America that I just like don't know about.
Oh, 100%
like,
in Latin America.
Like,
there's people.
I know that they're there, but I want to know them.
Well, because a lot of them don't even have like the appropriate skate parks or like enough of them, so they have to head into the streets. And then you think about like the impoverished cities that like barely have like nice sidewalks already. So if you think about it, it's like that looks like a ramp because it's already broken, or that's a gap because of this. So they're gonna like get creative because they just have to, because that's the environment already. So they're already skating on gnarly terrain.
I just feel like they're out there. So if you know someone, or if you are that person, comment. Help us. We want to see you. We want to know you. We want to admire you. Basically, is it? Because we just started trying to learn rails for the first time, and wow, it's wild. I'm so freaked out, but I also love
you said rails. I thought you said reels.
And I was rails. Like, no, rails.
I was like, what? We've been doing rails?
No, rails. Yeah, no, like we just started for the first time, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, again, why we're talking about this, because all the talk about freaking street skating, and then I had the opportunity to have a lovely friend and boss lady, the estrogen, is in town for work. So we wanted to all hang out after we clocked out on Friday. And Rebel was at home because, working a boring job at home. and Michelle was like, we should skate. So that like I was lucky I had something told me, it was so weird too, because I had left my park skates at the office instead of my other ones. And like something was like, just leave them here. It's fine. And I took my other skates home. And then Michelle left to get their skates. And then they brought Evie's skates, because Evie was like, well, get my skates too. And then so they got them back. And then as soon as I hit 5, we're like, all right. And they pulled out the heart rail. And it's like a nice flat rail. And in my head, I'm like, okay, I was wondering what they meant by we would be skating at the warehouse. And I played it hella cool. And that was the first time I was like, hey, bitch, is your medication starting to kick in? Because I didn't like go, oh no, I can't do this. I had no knee pads, nothing. I had no gear at all. I have never gone on a rail before. And I'm over here like, okay, cool, getting in line. Even Evie has her knee pads on. Sydney has her knee pads on. Michelle, of course, has nothing on. And then like they're like, okay, so let's put your foot on this. And I'm like, okay. And I just kept going. And then I'm like, okay, who am I? Like, usually, especially if I don't have safety gear, I'm like, y'all crazy. I'll be over there. And I was proud of myself for just doing it. And I had so much fun. And I like called Rebel and I was like, you need to get over here, grab your skates, come right now.
Yeah. And I was like, I actually have to finish some things, but okay, I'll come right afterwards. And then I came, and then it was super fun, and I was really scared, but then I did it kind of, not really, but kind of.
You did it.
And then
a Makio. That was what was cool too, is Michelle, before you got there, Michelle was really teaching us names and terms. Like if a trick is like if you took that and pretended it was a coping and you were on a ramp, like what it meant if it was top, and top is like when your chest, like your crotch is facing into the ramp, like that's top. And then how like finally got to ask a question like about slides versus grinds.
Is it really this versus this?
So say it for the people that aren't watching.
Oh, I think that a slide is when so like if your skates are pointing forward and the coping or the rail goes perpendicular to your skates. And then I think a grind is when
Your trucks.
Your trucks and your like blocks or whatever you have, one foot is in front of the other, and then your skates like almost hug the coping or the rail, and it's like that.
All right. So a lot of people do say that, and depending on where you're skating, respect that is what I learned. But technically, it switched to everything is a grind, because if you really wanted to talk about it, if you're doing is it 50-50 or is it 50-50 when you're both?
This is 50.
No, not 50-50. If you're doing a like porn star or I'm trying to remember all the names because I had them down. I'm really bad with grind names. But like when you have one skate one way and one the other, then what's that? Because technically that's a slide and a grind.
Yeah, I would say
one
that
doesn't
was,
trump the other.
I feel like
We thought, it's a grind just because one foot goes like that, but one doesn't trump the other. So when you started going, it was like there weren't always blocks, right? So it was called a plate stall or a plate slide. And then if you went on the truck, it was a truck slide or a truck glide. So it was either truck or it was plate. Then people started getting blocks, and then it was called a block grind, or then it kept switching back and forth. So a lot of them, I'm like, if we try to not be too crazy, because like if roller skaters started doing it after inliners and there was already a trick name made before a roller skater came and they're calling them grinds, they should all be grinds to make it less complicated because we're all skaters.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
But they call them slide blocks, but you hear some people say grind blocks, and that's why we now know those are both correct answers. But if you go somewhere at a skate park and everyone's like saying that term and that's just like the language of the land, just respect that and just call it that, and don't be like, actually it's this. You know what I mean?
That's so interesting. I always thought it was like grind on the trucks and then slide on the blocks.
Yeah, and don't come for me if you're like, actually that's wrong, because it's all debatable. And
I think so many things are debatable
I'm
in roller
not
skating.
Trying to be like CIB and like rewrite the whole dictionary and like be like, it's really hard to like have one entity say like, we're gonna write a dictionary and this is what it is. I think you need people from like that have been in skating for so long and that all skate something different, like your park, your street skaters. Like I think they need to come together to agree on these terms, because there's so many things just wrong in there, or like disagreeable, or like, you know, like there needs to be an agreement.
Yeah, like it's just not the word of law.
And not take it so seriously. Like I've heard people get in arguments about trick names.
Serious, so serious.
And it's like, how about we just do the thing with the thing, and then when you do it, you're like, woo, good job, you did that thing.
Yeah, but obviously, like, respect the people that came before you. I think that that's a big thing that I like think is important, is like when you know someone did come up with a name, like respecting them and respecting that.
Yeah, the only bad thing I saw was like people trying to name tricks that have already been done, like have a name, and
that's
they're like,
what I mean. I hate that. I'm so annoyed by that. Like,
you're like,
you had just started here. Like, what?
And then they're like, no, because they did it at a 25-degree angle and I did it at a 30-degree angle, so it's
like,
called this. It's like, it's
up.
the same trick, you just went a little higher.
Yeah, so weird.
I ain't gonna call no names, but I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
that's street skating.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed our little conversation. I feel like street skating will come up again in the future, but that's what we've got right now. We just wanted to start talking about it, open it up a little bit.
Ooh, season 3, we're going to have long episodes.
I know, right? Yikes.
Well, I need to go back to being depressed and not wanting to talk, so it's shorter.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's move on.
Trick of the week. week. This time, Rebel found someone.
Yo, I'm so excited about this trick of the week. Okay, so let me explain it to you, everyone who is like not watching right now. But basically, the trick of the week is Maddie Quail posted this, MADIQUAIL on Instagram. And basically what it is a skater is like standing there ready, and then another person has a big cement block, like one of those things that you park. It's like the parking block. They put that on top of a skateboard, and then they release the skateboard down a ramp, and the roller skater comes up and slides on the moving block that's on the skateboard, and it is rad. Let me show it to you.
And then there was somebody like waiting.
That's so badass.
It's so cool. Like what?
The timing has to be perfect with that.
Yeah, also who's grabbing it afterwards, because I'm scared it's gonna hurt someone's ankle. Yeah, so that's the trick of the week this week. I am like hella impressed by that. I'm okay. The reason why I picked that is because I'm super obsessed with when people use like skateboards and different found objects to add and like make tricks more interesting. So like I'm a big fan of people who like put a skateboard at the top of a ramp and then they come up and then they stall on the skateboard instead of the coping. Like, I'm a big fan of that. So I just thought that this with a moving element and then the like cement block, like I was like, it was amazing. Such a good skater. Incredible.
Great job.
Thanks for being our trick of the week, Maddie Quail.
Woo, trick
You're
of the
awesome.
week. They're like, did you just call me a what? A trick?
Yeah.
No, your tricks are amazing.
Your tricks are awesome, and they made our week. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right, let's move on to our obsessions.
Oh my god. Okay, so we're going to talk about things we're obsessed with currently. And I looked down at the notepad and I saw Rebel, dong and watching.
It says doing.
It looks like you wrote dong.
Okay, well, I guess I'll go with my obsession first then, because you blew it. That's okay. So my obsession this last week has definitely been doing and watching Get Ready With Me videos. If you don't follow me on social media, I now make a Get Ready With Me video pretty much every day. I've been doing it every day this week. I'm trying not to do it on the weekends necessarily, so I give myself a break, but what I like about it and the reason why I'm so obsessed with it is, one, it's forcing me to actually like get dressed in an outfit that I really like in the morning, and it helps me to feel better about myself and really helps me to be just like a little bit less depressed and more motivated. And two, it's forcing me to be more creative with my outfits, because I feel like I have that potential, and every time I'm put to the test, I can push through, but a lot of times I'll just be lazy with it. And so I'm trying to give myself a reason in the morning to like really like push the envelope a little bit more with my fashion.
Nice.
Yeah, and so I love watching other people's because it inspires me, and then I'm really enjoying like posting it because I think it's fun. It's like pretty easy to do. I definitely throwing more clothes around all over the place because I'm like trying more things on, so our like house is definitely more messy, but I'm gonna learn how to regulate that moving forward. And yeah, I'm just like totally obsessed with that. So that's what I'm obsessed with, and I'm totally obsessed with the fact that like other people are now like, oh yeah, we're gonna do outfit of the day too, because it's like I hate that once you are like a well-known roller skater or whatever, like people only expect you to post roller skating content. And so I just decided, like, fuck that. I want to post fashion content. I'll also post roller skating content, but like, let me be me. And I like that it's like empowering other people to do the same thing as well, because we are not just roller skaters. We have more to us than just our roller skating. You might not believe that, but there are many aspects to us as humans.
Oh my God.
Yes. What are you obsessed with this week, Shove?
I'm back on my Murderino shit again. I have been listening to My Favorite Murder as I am driving to and from work again, as well as jumping back on my Bailey Sarian. You know, the suspicious, the nene, the makeup murder Mondays. She's amazing.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I
Love her.
Feel like I just, I identify as her at so many levels. Like, I love my favorite murder, right? And like, they're cool and they're funny. They make me laugh. But I feel like I would hang out with them, but I wouldn't be like best friends with them, But like Bailey Sarian, I would be besties. Like, I want to be her sister. I feel like I want to hang out all the time, and I feel like her kind of sense of humor and the things she says and her weird faces, I'm like, I love you. And she's just like, the amount of research she does all by herself and the fact that she can do her makeup, which is amazing.
Yeah, and she does it so well.
Yeah, and like tell these stories. It's just like, I really appreciate the effort that she puts into it. So she's pretty amazing. I'm like upset because I do have episodes to catch up on, but I'm like, I need more because I'm like, there's not enough new ones. But I'm trying to get into her podcast, but it's just not hitting the same. But one day I'll get there.
Okay, so I know that I already had one, but I just realized that I actually have another one that I'm way more obsessed with.
I'll save it for next week.
And because I'm going to be obsessed with someone else or something else next week. But this girl, Drew Afualo, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Drewaffualo.
TikTok.
She is on TikTok and she just like listens to these guys who like are just trash humans who are saying shit like, oh yeah, if you're fat, why even exist? And like all this sort of stuff. And then she'll just laugh at them and then literally destroy them. Like she will just take them down like completely. Like she will just annihilate them. And her laugh is so funny and contagious. And she has such good energy. And it's just like, it's the best. Like, I freaking love it. So you should 100% go watch all of her TikTok. And I think she's on Instagram too. Like, you've got to find her. You've got to watch her stuff. It's hilarious. And I am totally obsessed with it. I literally spent like a solid hour today just watching all of her stuff to catch up because I was like, wait, I haven't seen some of these because I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed.
Do you want me to blow your mind right now?
Yes.
Do you know she has a podcast?
She has a podcast?
Yes.
What is it? Is it
Two
about?
idiot girls. It's her and another girl. And it's just her going. So I think we need to check it out because there was a TikTok where it had a clip of one of her episodes. And I was like, holy shit, she has a podcast. I need to listen to it. And I forgot until you mentioned it right now.
I don't know. This is why I created this segment of the podcast is because I'm literally obsessed with her and I needed to talk to people about it. So please get into it and talk to us about it.
Oh my
gosh. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not even going to tell you anything else.
Okay, just like play one. I think you should just put a soundbite and have our reaction on it, right? Like, let's just do this.
Okay, let me see. Okay, here's one.
It better be a goodie.
I know. I'm like trying to see the like most seen one. Okay. Okay, so this one says it is this guy, and it starts with, why are y'all trying to normalize girls with body hair? Sorry, but no. And this is what he looks like for the people on the YouTube. And this is what she says.
So good. Fucking got him, bro. The irony of this being that
her faces
for sure don't have a bitch. But that's besides the point. This is my impression of what I think dudes like this think happens when they post this fucking bullshit. Straight facts, no printer. This is my impression of what they think women do. Fuck. God damn it. Shit. Neither of which happened. Instead, you got me. The most embarrassing part about this video to me, you were sucking your lips in the whole time. When you push them out, they look the fucking same. No lips, no opinion. Arthur Christmas head ass.
Anyways, so that's just like the smallest soundbite.
Yeah, she just reads them.
Reads them. And she
Reads
like
them.
does her research too. She like, there will be ones where she's like, your TikTok profile had no pictures of you. So I found you. I know what you look like
I
now.
found your Instagram.
And then we'll just rip them apart. And it's amazing. And you've got to go. And I love that she's like, okay, I promise I'm going to stop talking about this like so soon. But like, she'll literally be like, yo, you know that the hottest girl that you've ever thought of. And you're like, man, I wish she was mine. That girl follows me. Like she's in my group. Like,
yeah, I think like one of them when she was just like, because people will tag, like whenever there's like a douchey guy saying something that's so sexist or homophobic or transphobic,
anything,
like everyone will tag her
terrible.
and tag her and tag her. So she'll be like, all right, bet. And then like, yeah, like you said, does her research. And sometimes it's like people already, like these men already know. So they like block her real fast before they're like, who keeps getting tagged? Oh shit, she's going to come for me. So they block her. And then she'll find it because she's like, you think I don't got more than one account? Like,
yeah,
I got you.
Like, what the hell? Yeah, so we're obsessed.
Yeah,
So
you
yeah,
should check
so
it out.
you should go check it out. And
Some good laughs.
definitely good laughs.
Become obsessed like us.
Yes, and tell us what you're obsessed with so we can check it out.
All right, I think
all right.
that wraps it
I think
up.
that we've done a very long episode, so
Maybe
thank
that's
you
just
so
season
much.
3.
It's a party. We love hanging out with you, so we'll see you next Wednesday
If we're lucky.
We will. Okay, bye.
Bye.
That's it, right? You just spit on the microphone?
Bye, everyone.
Bye.